Hi all, welcome to today's webinar, Apps for Focus, a webinar and co-working session. I'm Betsy Malarczyk. I'm a learning skills specialist with the Academic Resource Center, and I'm hoping that today's session will be super productive for all of you as you're getting started with your final exam period, or for some of you, you might be in the middle of it or even finishing it up. So to go over a quick overview of today's session, we're going to be breaking this hour into several study blocks. We're going to start with a 5-minute planning session. We're going to have a 10-minute study block, then move into a 15-minute study block, and our final study block will be however much time we have left. So why are we using timed study blocks? These can be super practical if you are, like me, someone who perpetually suffers from procrastination. Time study blocks can help you stay focused because they are essentially building in the breaks that your brain wants to take into your working schedule. Now, if you're the opposite, if you're someone who doesn't take enough breaks and you just work, and then feel burned out and drained, then this can ensure that you are taking breaks, which also can involve resting your eyes, drinking water, walking around, and even doing those little things to be kind to your body can increase your productivity over longer periods of time. And then, of course, these shorter study breaks can also make a large study block less intimidating by breaking one large task into smaller study goals. So we're going to be starting, as I mentioned before, with a 5-minute goal setting period. How do you set intentional study goals? First, you determine what larger tasks you want to work on. So today we have an hour with a little bit of chatting in between. So figure out what main assignment you want to work on throughout the next hour, and then break that task into 3 concrete steps, one to work on for each shorter study block. So for example, if my large goal for the next hour is to start my sociology essay, then my 3 smaller tasks are, first of all, just create and format a Word document. That'll be my first session. 2, read over my paper assignment and begin brainstorming. That will be my second session. And then 3, brainstorm and refine my thesis ideas. That'll be my third session. Of course, I know that some tasks might take less time, some might take more time, but it's okay if you don't complete that task in that time. It's more about making sure you have a goal of what you want to work on during that period. So throughout this webinar, we're going to be talking about a few different apps and Chrome extensions that can help you stay focused. The first one I'm going to highlight is New Tab Studio. This is a Google Chrome extension. It has a free version and a paid version, but all of the apps and extensions I'm talking about today, I'm showing you the free version. And it's useful for keeping your goals in the forefront of your mind. Again, if you're someone who finds yourself procrastinating on Chrome, this is a great extension to use to help keep those goals present. So how this extension works is every time you have a new tab, and as you see, I have some tabs open up here. Here I have I'm going to make a new tab. Every time you open a new tab, it creates an interface based on widgets that you can include. So what I have here is a countdown timer to the first day of exams. You can set a goal for 1 a day. I drank water today, so I get to mark that off. And then over here, I have my to-do list with my 3 study goals. Now, why is this a helpful extension to keep me on focus? Keep me focused on my task? Because anytime I go to open a new tab, to go to YouTube, go to a site I shouldn't be going, this page is going to be there. So every time I open up a new tab, I am going to be seeing this to-do list, which for me is extremely helpful. So our first task, again, is going to be to develop your goals for the next 3 work sessions. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. So what you should do during this time, first of all, determine which larger task you want to work on, and then break that task into 3 concrete steps, one to work on for each study block of about 10 to 15 minutes. Once you have figured that out, if you still have some time left, then maybe go gather any materials you need so that when our next study block starts, you're ready to go. And then if you finish early, you could start working, or you could just take an intentional break by drinking water, stretching, but I would suggest you avoid just looking on your phone or doing something that's in that procrastination space. And also feel free to ask any questions in the chat, either during this break or throughout the session. So again, first 5 minutes are going to start now. There's a timer up here. Good luck. All right, all. So those are our 5 minutes. So before we move on to our next study session, just wanted to talk about the benefits of a virtual shared workspace, which is what we've created here with this webinar today. So even though we're not working together, we are working together, and this creates external accountability. So you're more likely to stay on task if someone else is there keeping you accountable to this task. And this is something that you can do on your own, which is one of the reasons we're going over a lot of different apps today that can help you facilitate this. And it allows you to connect with friends or classmates over shared goals, even friends who don't live in DC, or even with friends who have non-academic goals. So if you have a friend going to school somewhere across the country and you usually do a weekly check-in, maybe instead you can do a group work session, sharing an app and keeping one another on task. So the next app highlight is called Marinara Timer, and it's actually a web tool, so you don't need to download anything. You don't need to create an account. You can just go to the website, which is at the bottom here, www.marinaratimer.com. And what this is essentially a Pomodoro timer. So Pomodoro timer is the traditional timed work session of working for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. Here we have several different timer options. We're going to do a custom timer here. Click on this. And we're going to call this, I just made it nameless. So we'll start over. Custom timer, we're going to call it study session 1. And this is going to be 10 minutes. And what's great about this website is that we have a shared code, so you can bring this website up on your own computer or own device. So if you don't want to stare at my screen, you're working somewhere else, you can bring up the same timer and work with it on your device. So I'm starting this, but I'm going to pause it just for a moment to share this link. It's up here at the top if you can see it, and I will add it to the chat. So that if you want to bring this up on your own device, you can, but no pressure. I'm also going to leave this timer up here. But again, that will take you to our shared timer. So I'm going to resume this, and our 10-minute timer is starting now. All right, all, that's our 10 minutes. So hopefully that was a productive work session for everyone. So before we move on to our 15-minute work session, I just wanted to talk a little bit about setting up a productive study space. One great way to stay focused is to look at your past behavior and observe the ways in which you procrastinate. So what do I mean by this? Are you someone who, like me, just kind of arbitrarily opens up other tabs on your web browser and procrastinates that way? Are you someone who procrastinates on your phone? Do you spend a lot of time on YouTube? Do you spend a lot of time on Netflix? What you want to do is, before your study break, figure out some of the primary ways that you lose focus and use external tools as best you can to help you stay on task. So I wanted to introduce you to a few of my favorite external tools that really help me. And these are all Chrome extensions, again, because as I've mentioned, I tend to open new tabs and just procrastinate in that space. The first one is called Pause. And again, all of these are free. So Pause also works when you open new windows. So if I open my new tab, here's my new tab page, and go to a website that's on my list of sites that I want to pause before I visit. So that includes YouTube. So let's go to ARC YouTube channel. So if we go to this website, this screen is going to come up. Pause for a few seconds. And this is all that this Chrome extension does. It just kind of asks you to think for a moment. Are you sure you want to go to this website? Are you sure this is what you want to do? But it doesn't restrict your access. It only restricts it for those few seconds, and then you can move on to your website. And I find this helpful because, again, sometimes I start to go to a new website, and even that pause is something that can make me reconsider. However, I do need to go to YouTube sometimes because I'm looking up music to work to, I'm looking up resources for class. So I don't want to totally restrict YouTube. So this is perfect. Now, YouTube I'm going to in particular because there's another Chrome extension that I also love called YouTube Rabbit Hole. So if I go to a video on YouTube,
for finals, hosted by Georgetown's academic research.
That was our last webinar. What you'll see here is over on the right-hand side where there should be suggested videos. I've turned on this extension, YouTube Rabbit Hole, that blocks suggested videos. And then if I scroll down, it also has blocked comments and information below. So I find this extension really helpful because I can still use my video. There is a way to turn off the video as well. You can just turn it on so that the whole website, the whole homepage has a giant bunny rabbit ears. But basically the idea is that it prevents you from going down the YouTube rabbit hole. You just watch one video and that's it. Of course, I do have a few websites that I have to stay off of. One of those for me is the AV Club, which is like an entertainment review website. Here's our new tab again. And for that, I use BlockSite. So when I put in the website, the link for AV Club, I get this website and it says, don't even think about it. So what I like about BlockSite is it doesn't block all the internet. I really just have 2 or 3 websites that are like my key procrastination websites that I've added to that list. So it doesn't restrict my internet usage at all. It just kind of keeps me off of those few particular websites. So these are 3, again, all free Chrome extensions that can help you stay focused if online is where a lot of your procrastination comes from. So the next website we're going to look at is very similar to the last one, Marinara timer. This one's called Cuckoo. This is also a web tool, so no login needed, no app download, and it's free, and it's also useful for shared group sessions. And so for this one, we have the link down here, cuckoo.team. And it's, again, similar to Marinara timer in that it's a shared work timer. So here we have welcome to Cuckoo, and I'm going to create a shareable link. So we're going to call this study session 2, which is what this is. It's going to be our 15-minute. And then my name is Betsy, although you don't have to put a name. And then we are going to be doing a 15-minute work session. So before I do that, I will share the link in the chat. So if you want to join us for the added accountability, you can, but it's created a unique link for this work session. And then as people join, you show up at the bottom, but you don't, again, you don't have to put in your name if you just want to join for the accountability. So again, for this one, we are going to do 15 minutes, and those 15 minutes are going to start right now. All right, all. So that's the end of our 15-minute session. As some of you saw, you can, anyone in here can pause the video. Anyone can in this Cuckoo room can control the shared timer. So that's part of why the accountability can be helpful. You are collaborating with other people, so you're accountable to that shared time. So we have one more work session left. And we're going to talk just briefly about tools that work on both your phone and your computer. And for our final work session, we're going to be using two different tools. One's going to be on the phone, and then one will be on the computer. So probably one of the most popular study apps is Forest. And Flora is very similar. The main difference why I'm highlighting both is that Forest, for some, costs money to purchase, and Flora is free on your phone. But both of these work in the same way. You can download both of these on your phone, and it will start planting a tree. And if you use your phone while that tree is being planted, the tree dies. Like Cuckoo, which we just used, you can share a code with other people. So if anyone in that group goes on their phone, then the tree dies for everyone. So it blocks your phone for however long, and then it also will let others know if you're procrastinating on your phone. So that's some accountability that people find really helpful. We're going to be using Flora for our next work session, which again is the free version of this. So we're going to be using that on the phone, and I'll be sharing a code with folks. So if that's something you're interested in joining in on for our final, I think it'll be about 10-minute study session. Feel free to download that app, Flora. Forest exists as a Chrome extension right now, which is free. Flora, I think they're working on developing a Chrome extension, but in that capacity, it will block just your web browser while you have it running because it's planting a tree. So the other app we're going to be using is Tide. Tide, what I really like about it is it is a kind of meditation focused study app. So there's a timer that you can use to focus that will play nature sounds. On the phone version, there's also a nap timer. One of my favorite tools is the breath timer. You can press on it and it'll ask you how long do you want to breathe for. You can say a minute and it will cue you to breathe in and breathe out for about a minute. So for the phone version, there are more features. For the Chrome extension, it provides you with the focus timer with nature sounds in the background, and we'll be using that. You should be able to hear the nature sounds that I'm playing on my computer. If not, we won't worry about it, but if they're bothering you, you can also mute your computer. So we're going to be using these two. Flora on the phone for those who are interested. And for that, I'm sharing a code with you now. We're going to put it for 10 minutes, which will put us just a little past our 5 p.m. time. So if you need to go early, that's okay if you kill our tree. And then for Tide, I'll just show you how this works. And this is how a lot of these Chrome extension works. If you're in Chrome, you go up and click on this little puzzle piece. And then Tide is going to be down here. We're going to find a nature sound that we like. We might go with, there's a lot of options. I kind of like rain. Forest, yeah. We like, our music could be good. A lot of options. Stream, here we go. So we're going to change this to 10 minutes. Sorry, you just had to watch me think about my favorite nature sounds. But yeah, starting both timers now. All right, all that is our final study session. And as you can see, I've timed it up to automatically go into a 5-minute break. So just a few quick closing notes. One is, what's next? What do you do after you finish your final study session? A good tip is to always end a study session by planning on when your next study session is going to be. So if you're walking away from a space, know either when you're going to be sitting down next to study or when you're going to be sitting down with your planner to figure out your next study block. So even if you're going to take a dinner break, tell yourself, I'm going to sit back down in, an hour and a half, no matter what. And then set a reminder in a way that works for you, whether that be a digital GCal reminder or just a Post-it note on top of your laptop. And then just so you know, this is our last webinar for the fall, but we are going to be posting up our spring webinar schedule either sometime later this month or early in January. So that'll be available on our website, which if you stick around, I'll post the link to that in the chat. And also, we have a super fast webinar suggestion form. The link's available on our website as well, and I'll also post it on the chat. But if you are interested in seeing more working sessions like this one, definitely let us know because we may just have one plan for next semester right now, but we can add more. And so if you have any questions, you can also feel free to add them in the chat at this time. If not, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck finishing up your final exams and happy studying.